Sorry, hold on. Okay. So I completely agree with all of what you said. Now, here's a leader. A leadership, has vision, skill, competence, motivation, empowering, all sorts of things. A leadership or leaders have to have, right? You want to have someone that that has that vision, because if your leader doesn't have a vision, you're just spinning your wheels, right? And it's not going to they're not going to lead very well. So leaders should have all of this, and your leadership team should have this as well. All right. Styles of leadership. Okay. Now we're going to be talking about different styles of leadership. You have, excuse me. We have, what is number one? Who wants to read that? Autocratic. What does autocratic mean?
Autocratic. Leader makes all the decisions.
All the decisions. That's what an autocratic means. So autocratic leader, if you're an autocratic leader, I am making every single decision, or you're making every decision, and that is it. Okay, now what is a democratic? Tell me what that is.
A participant or involved in decision making.
Okay, so that means that, the first one, autocratic, where it's my way or the highway, basically, right? And then democratic, it's all of, let's all make a decision, let's all talk about it, and let's all make a decision, kind of a deal. Now, what is a laissez-faire when it comes to, what is laissez-faire style of leadership? Anybody want to tell me what that is?
Employees are allowed to make their own decision without much oversight from their manager.
Okay, so that means the employees are allowed to make their own decisions without oversight from their manager. Now, that is kind of it's kind of a real, like, lackadaisical, like, whatever. They can make those decisions if they want to. Not maybe the best, but it is a style of leadership. What is number 4 is transactional. What is the transactional leadership?
Managerial leadership.
Yep, leadership. And what is transformational?
High level of motivation and inspiration.
Okay, high level of motivation and inspiration. Right, so those are the 5 types of leadership. Okay, now we're going to be kind of breaking them down, I believe. Yeah. So let's see. So those are the 5 leadership qualities, or types of leadership. Leadership, you need skills, you need to be able to do, have hard work, all of that sort of good stuff. And I'm going to kind of skip this one, because I want to go into what are all of these autocratic. Let's go into what is an autocratic leadership. Autocratic leader, someone tell me, someone read this slide for me.
Authoritarian leaders are also known as autocratic or dictatorial leaders. This leadership style is characterized by close supervision, lack of input from followers, complete control, total authority, and solo decision-making.
Thank you. Yeah, that's, has anybody ever had a autocratic boss before?
I tell my sons that this is an autocracy all the time.
Yeah, yeah, totally. For as parenting is that right? For sure. But you know, when you're dealing with a autocratic leader, or doing autocratic leadership, it can. I don't think it's the best when you're leading, you know, your staff, but you know, it is a style, and I think all of these are good in certain ways. But for sure, that is what an autocratic leadership does. Autocratic leadership style is you know, when would you think an autocratic leadership style would be good in? You know, in a workplace, what's a good situation?
I know this style of leadership is used for basic training, so I'd imagine this would be really good for people who are really, really new and they need to just be like broken in a little bit. Not because you don't have to break everyone's spirit in the kitchen,
Yeah.
but it's not like basic. But I think at that level, when you have someone with complete lack of understanding or
Yes. No, I completely agree with you on that. Democratic leadership. Someone want to read this slide?
The democratic leadership or participative leadership was another one of Lewin's style of leadership. This leadership style is characterized by shared decision-making, responsibility, social equality, creativity, and hold on, my little, I can't see the bottom part. Oh, high engagement from members.
Oh, cool. Thank you. All right. So this is kind of a democratic. It's more of a, you know, leadership where you have a little more decision making, a little more, you know, kind of letting. Oh, hold on a sec. Someone put something in the chat. Oh, it's private. Okay. So what do you, in your own words, someone tell me what a democratic leadership style is?
I think the democratic leader kind of involves everyone in decision making, but ultimately the leader actually makes the decision. And once it's decided, you know, that's what everyone's going with.
Exactly, but he or she gives the individuals the ability to kind of you know, have some sort of help in some, you know, or at least communicate information to them, so where it's not just solely one-sided, right? You know, that's the one thing I wanted to make sure is you understand it's not just one-sided. This has got kind of a little bit of both sides, but no matter what, like you said, the manager as or the leader or the person that is managing is sole responsible for making those decisions, for sure. Laissez-faire. Let's talk about laissez-faire. What would someone tell me about laissez-faire? If you could read this.
I feel like this mainly works in a setting where you have like highly motivated individuals. Like I think like multimillionaires and billionaires, their staff is more laissez-faire, right?
I agree. Kind of like Apple, or you know, some people in, you know, some companies in Apple computer or whatever else, or you know, Google or you know, some of the where their staff is just, you know, I just say, okay, come up with something new, you know, and I don't really need to. It's kind of a laissez-faire. You know, you do your own thing, you know, and you have to have highly motivated people, because if in this situation, if not, you could potentially have a train wreck, if you will, of things not getting done. Go
If you
ahead.
have a really good team,
Mhm.
you know, essentially they should just be able to go out, take care of something, and come back and say, "Hey, this is what we did." And you know, they should know better. Like if they fall flat on their face, then there's going to be repercussions.
I completely agree, and I think laissez-faire. There is a spot in leadership for that style for sure, but it depends on your staff. Um, let's talk about laissez leadership and actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's take a 10-minute break, y'all. Let's take a 10-minute break, guys.
All right, sounds good, Chef.
All right, be back in actually, let's say it's 6:55, so come back in 10 minutes.
All right, Chef.
Cool. See you in a minute.
says target closures of schools and businesses could be necessary. And now
Yes, sir.
Do what? Did you say something? Did someone say something? About another minute and we'll get started.
All right.
All right. We're going to get back started again. So, kind of a recap on the leadership. We have autocratic. That's one leadership, our one leadership style. Democratic is the other one that we talked about. Laissez-faire is one. And then the next one is called transitional leadership. Who wants to tell me what this is? Or
Transactional leadership.
I said I'm sorry. Did I say transitional? I meant
Yeah.
transact. Sorry. My apologies. Go ahead.
Transactional leadership, also known as managerial leadership, is all about managing others using rewards and punishments. The transactional leadership style is characterized by lots of instruction, clear expectations, clear goals, inflexibility, efficiency, focused on following rules.
All right, thank you. Lots of instructions, clear expectations, clear roles. Now, the only the difference is that usually this is done with rewards or punishments. Using rewards or punishments. Kind of a carrot kind of a thing. Hey, here's that. Carrot on a stick kind of a deal of, hey, here, this is your kind of, once you get it done, this is what you can get, or this is the prize, or this is the punishment you're going to get if you don't get it done, or whatever else. So, again, a style sometimes, a good style, some, excuse me, I got the hiccups. But it is a different style of leading and leadership. How about transformational leadership? Who wants to talk about, will someone read that one or talk about the transitional leadership? Transformational. Can't speak today.
Yeah, transformational leadership. People with this leadership style presenting a clear vision of the outcome display a great deal of passion for the work and help group members feel inspired and committed to the goals. People who have this leadership style are often described as energetic, passionate, enthusiastic, trustworthy, creative, and intelligent.
Think of all, the people that are just some pictures that are listed right there. I mean, look at all those leaders. I mean, those are people that transformed lots of things, and it was those are some great leaders there. It's when you lead, you need to, honestly, to be a good leader, you need to have all of these leadership styles, because realistically, guys, when you're managing or when you're leading your staff, there is not just one style of leadership you need them all. You need every bit of these, because there's some days some styles and some employees because all employees are different. I mean, just look at our class, right? We got all different people from all different walks of life, and all of that. And you know, when you are leading, you can't always lead the same way every single time, because it's not going, because of your staff. Your staff is different, right? Everybody is different. So you've got to treat and you've got to lead people in different ways, because you know, some people want to follow a different leader, and in different, you know, some people have different values and different mindsets, and some people like and thrive in a laissez-faire environment, right? Some people thrive in a democratic environment. Some people thrive in an autocratic, but some people don't thrive in an autocratic. Some people don't thrive in a democratic or laissez-faire or any of those. So you've got to find what fits your staffing needs, and what gets the job done, and what gets the job done the best way. And that is you as a leader and as a manager, determining what is best for your staffing needs, and what is best for your staff, because each staff, each group, each team, each whatever you want to call it, is so different, and everybody needs to be led or have leadership quality. You know, when you're becoming a leader, you got to realize everybody's different. No one is the same, and no one's going to want things presented to them in you know, people want things presented to them in different ways, right? You know, I can, you know, you can communicate in different ways, and I think as a leader, you need to be all of these. You need to be a great what I would call a great leader. You need to
So,
be able
Chef, would
to.
you say your leadership style is dependent on how your staff performs, or do your staff perform based off your leadership style?
I would say your staff performs off your leadership style. You know, I mean, that's the way I would like for them to perform. But I mean, what does everybody else think? What do you think?
I mean, I think if you're a great leader,
Go ahead. I apologize.
no, I'm sorry. I said if you're a great leader, I think they're going to want to lead by your example.
Exactly. Yeah. Anybody else want to chime in and put their 2 cents in? All right. No, I agree. Lead by example. You know, doing all of that, I think it is. I think it's very important to lead by example, and to show your staffing that your staff that this is how, you know, how it should be done. And I think by leading example, you might have people that are more willing to go that extra mile and to go to do all of that. So, but that is, you know, any other final thoughts when it comes to like the leadership styles? Is there a style that works best for you? And why? What is there a style that works best for you? For, you know, anybody in here?
I wonder if for a kitchen type, it would lean more towards like the whole democratic style / autocratic in some situations, due to the whole fact that, like, as you said before, like a lot of like chefs or people that are trying to become chefs are a little bit of control freaks. I wonder if there's going to be like kickback depending on what style you use. And maybe the democratic style is more the overall approach because of those personalities.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, I think you're right. I think honestly, when you are managing, I think it's just trying to figure out in being a leader, it's just trying to figure out what you can do to make your staff successful, plain and simple, right? I want my staff, I want them to be successful, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make them successful. And that is by leading them in whatever way that they need to be led, and allowing them to lead themselves a little bit, because they're in all these styles, in these styles, there are, spots where I don't have to if I'm the leader, I don't have to make those decisions. I let them make those decisions and then come back to me, because, as a good leader, and a good manager, I need to allow my employees to do the work. I need to kind of, and sometimes it's hard to let my employees do all the work, because because I could do it better, or I could do it, whatever it is. But trying to just let your staff do their jobs, and in trying to figure out how, because you can't cookie cutter an operation. You can't each person is different, and everybody's going to be different, and everybody needs different things. And as a leader, I need to know what motivates, and again, and I'm kind of stealing my thunder when it comes to motivation, and that's going to be later down the way. But you need to figure out what motivates your staff, and if it's a laissez-faire, situation, maybe that might be the best scenario. But you need to be able to manipulate all of these styles, I think, is very important. So let's see about this video.
Hey Shep, good morning. It's Kamari. I was having Wi-Fi problems today, and that's why I was late.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
Good.
No worries, thank you.
All right.
Good evening.
And if you need to turn off your video to maybe it might stream better, you can turn off your video so where it might stream better.
I'm very honored to be with you in Kuwait, and very honored to have people sponsor us and make this an evening of leadership and learning how to grow and develop as a leader. And I'm just looking forward to our time together. And if it's okay, while I teach, I'll sit. And the reason that I like to sit is because although this will be a teaching, it's also a conversation. The best way to connect and communicate with people is by sitting with them, usually eating, and mostly just getting to really know each other. And that's what I want to do now. I want to meet you. You look very smart. You look happy, and I want to just find out who you are. My name is John, and on the count of 3, I'd like you to give me your name. 1.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna go. Let's see. Actually, let's take a 5-minute break so I can queue up the video where I wanted it. For some reason it It's not queued up where I wanted it. So are y'all cool with a quick 5-minute break? All right, so just take 5-minute break just so I can queue this up. I'm gonna have to go through it and get this back where I wanted it.
Okay.
Thank you guys, sorry.
It's so interesting that your book is coming out at this time. Think of it again. So the book is called Trust. The book is called Trust. Yes, I see it. I take behind the
All right.
That was an attempt at humor. But it's so interesting that I've gotten calls from both Democrats and Republicans who asked this question when the president first became ill. Do you really think that he's ill? I was shocked that so many people from both parties were asking that question. What does that say about trust? You write in your book, society works best when people trust. So what happens when people can't trust? Well, it shows you the point that we've come to. I mean, consider the position of this physician, the doctor to the president. He represents three of the institutions that are supposed to be the most trusted in the world. He works for.
All right, well, you know what? I'm gonna, we'll take that 5 minutes, but I'm gonna just do without that video for today.
We can't, and that is an incredibly dangerous thing. With Americans unsure about something as fundamental as the physical condition of the president of the United States.
So at 7:25, we'll get started.
The clock to develop a vaccine, and yet half of Americans would hesitate to get one. Getting that life-saving vaccine prevents individuals from getting sick. It also prevents individuals from spreading the disease. Just one example of how a concept that sounds very theoretical, like social trust, that's a life and death issue. You say the highest compliment you can pay a friend is, I trust you with my life. I think that's a very short list for most people. When you say trust, it's easily broken, but it can be rebuilt. Seems like that's needed now. That's right. Look, if all of us were perfectly reliable, trust wouldn't even matter, right? Trust, you can't be completely sure of what somebody else will do. You place some level of faith. You make yourself a little bit vulnerable to them. And there are a lot of ways that, as human beings, we restore trust when it's been broken. We rebuild trust when it's been damaged. That's something America's got to think about a lot. Not just here at home, where we've got to find ways to reform our institutions, but around the world. Trust has many enemies. One of them is lies. Secrets don't help either, and in particular, they don't seem to be that consequential. So I'm curious, why not just say whether or not you're playing the vice president in these mock debates for Harris and Harris? Yeah, good question, Tony Nicole. So what do you say?
All right, we'll get started in a couple more minutes. My apologies for the not having that video queued up, but we'll just move on.
Many people thought VP debate was going to be. He seems to have been taking on a different tone. Would you agree? Absolutely, it's so important, and I think a lot of Americans are going to be tuning in to see just a dramatic contrast between a vice president defending the indefensible and Senator.
Hey, Gary, are you there?
Yes, Sheriff, I'm here.
Oh, cool. I didn't have you in my attendance, so I just needed to make sure I put you. All right, about another minute and we'll get started. All right, guys, I'm gonna talk to y'all for a second before we get back started. All right, so, and I'm gonna be very honest with y'all. All right, so tomorrow I am getting a colonoscopy. So that's tomorrow, and a scoping of my stomach and going from both ends, right? So just to let you know, so I 100% transparency. You know, tomorrow I might, during class, I'm going to have to be drinking this solution, right, to kind of clean me out. So there might be a part of tomorrow where I'm going to just say, hey, I got to run, you know, and I might run, you know, I might have to run to use the restroom every once in a while tomorrow. So just being 100% transparent with you. Okay, guys. So I don't like to lie to you, but that's what's going to be happening tomorrow. So because I take blood thinners and they think I might have like an ulcer or something bleeding in my stomach. So that's why I've got to do it. But anyway, just wanted to be 100% transparent with y'all. If you see me say, I got to go for a sec, that's what it is. All right. Everybody cool? Everybody understand? That's going to be for tomorrow. I apologize. I can't get anybody to teach my class other than me. So it is what it is. So, and depending on how bad it is, I might just say, hey, independent study for you tomorrow, depending. Okay. But that's really kind of depending on that. All right. All right. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
And my apologies.
You, chef.
You know, yeah, and that's the issue is I got to do what I got to do. But anyway, I just wanted to 100% transparency with y'all. So that's kind of the deal. So anyway.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
And our thoughts and prayers with you for tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't like to be too graphic, but I just wanted to let y'all know. So I don't like to hide anything or any of that sort of stuff. So all right. Cool. All right. So just give you a heads up. All right. So motivation. Employee, and we're skipping that video just because I don't feel like spending any time to try to cue it back up to where I had it. But employee motivation is something, to motivate an employee that's or that I feel like is unmotivatable is so hard. It really is. I mean, you know, I know we have a few military people in there, and I use the word, you know, try to talk about military, but you know, I mean, has anybody ever, you know, like seen, you know, in the military, you know, they have code red, or they, you know, yell at you, they scream at you, they do whatever to motivate a person that's going slow, right? That they'll, you know, especially basic training. We're talking basic training. You know, they're gonna motivate you by yelling and screaming and all of that, and that's something you can't do in the workplace. You know, you can't motivate people by screaming and yelling, because all that's going to do is going to, you know, blow up in your face. It's gonna backfire, if you will. You know, military's a little different. They've got their own style. They want to basically break you down and build you up however they want to be built, right? And that's motivation. It's you know, management, it's everything, but motivating an unmotivated person. Has anybody ever had to try to motivate an unmotivated person? That's difficult.
It's like the saying, you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. So
Amen.
As long as that person is ready to wanting to be changed and wanting to be motivated, then that's a good thing. But if they don't, then it's talking to a brick wall.
Totally. And all that does, in all of that does is that creates tension, right? And tension that could cause other issues in your management, in general. But motivating people, and we're going to be talking about how to motivate people, or at least try to help motivate people. Because do you think, first of all, do y'all think motivation is something that you can teach or that is ingrained in somebody? What do y'all think?
I feel like you might be able to train people and maybe implement certain triggers that respond to them to like make them feel motivated.
Yes, I think you could, help trigger people to be motivated in some sort of way, because of, money is a huge motivator, right? People like money, right? People like success. People like, getting a promotion. People like certain things, but, motivating someone, can be difficult, but you've got to figure out what motivates each individual. And if we go around the room, or if we go around this class right now and ask, what motivates you? I bet, I bet everybody's going to have a different, some of them are going to be the same, but a lot of them are going to be kind of different. Success, or, whatever motivates people. But I have to, as a good manager and a good leader, I've got to figure out what motivates my employees. What is it that makes my employees want to go that extra mile or to do whatever it is? So trying to figure that out is very important. You want someone read about motivation. Someone read this slide for me.
Motivation is the word derived from the word motive, which means needs, desires, wants, or drives within the individuals. It is the process of stimulating people to actions to accomplish the goals. In the work goal context, the psychological factors stimulating the people's behavior can be desire for money, success, recognition, job satisfaction, teamwork, etc.
Thank you. All right. So motivation. What are some things that motivate you in general? What in this class? What is some things that motivate you as an individual? Family. Okay. Family for sure. I think is a big thing. What else?
Desire to do better in life.
Desire to do better. Money, like just in your job itself. In what maybe do you? What motivates you? Is it that you've got family and you've got a mortgage, and you've got that mortgage motivates you to get up every single day to pay that mortgage, or you got student loans, or whatever it is that motivates you to get up out of that bed every single day. And I know, guys, it is difficult to get out of that bed sometimes, right? We all have challenges, and we all have our set of problems, and what motivates individuals to get out of bed and to go and bust their ass every single day at a job, and trying to figure out what motivates people to do the job. And you know what? A lot of times good motivation is just, as a manager, just being nice to the people, you know, making your job not painful. You know, who's been in a job where, you know, it's painful to work there, you know, because there is no motivation. There is no, everybody's stagnant. There's no room to grow. There's no one's, you know, getting pay raises, you know, all sorts of things. There's no motivation. And if there's no motivation, there's no motivation for that employee to do a good job. So trying to motivate your employees to, I mean, first of all, you know, motivation should be, you know, you just got to, you have a job, right? You know, you're getting money, but also now you need to, you know, you need to figure out ways to make your employees happy and motivated and wanting to succeed. Why do we do this? The end game. What is our end game? To make money, to produce whatever we want to produce, to make, you know, whatever cog we are making, or to make a dish or whatever else. So motivation, the end game is to get my employees empowered enough to do their job, and to do their job with, you know, to their best of their ability. That's what I'm trying to motivate my employees to do, and give them that drive, that stamina, that strength to push on. And sometimes it's just a good old pat on the back. Way to go. Good job. I'm so proud of you. Those are some things that, you know, help out. You know, who's ever had a boss go up to you and say, hey, I'm so proud, you did a great job? Or, you know, when a manager or a leader or your boss, you know, comes up to you and says, hey, you did a great job today, you know, it gives you that self-confidence. It gives you that self-confidence to do that job again and again, but motivating you to do better and to get better at your job, or, you know, get better at your, you know, whatever task that you're doing. Motivation. Okay, and I kind of used that, and I kind of talked about carrot on a stick when it came a few minutes ago, or about an hour ago or so. And this is part of the motivation, you know, the award, when I was talking about awards, or awarding, or even disciplining people, that is a, you know, form of motivation, but that would be the carrot on a stick, or this, you know, shrimp on a piece of on a fishing pole, or whatever that is. So motivation. Let's see. I am in this job because I have no other option. Is that person motivated? Absolutely not. They are just in this job just because there's no other option. You know, I don't want to have my employees to ever say that, right? Because I don't want them to feel that way. I want them to have options. You know, and if they consider this like a dead end job, then you know, they're going to treat this like a dead end job. They're not going to do anything to be motivated. Let's see. Let's see. Putting human resources in action. Basically, when you're motivating you're looking for requirement, physical, financial, human requirements, the goals. What is it that you know? Someone says family. Okay, if family motivates you, then I would. Who said family? Who was that? I didn't see. Who is it?
Cassandra.
Oh, Cassandra. Thank you. I don't see who it is. So Cassandra. So if family motivates you, then what I would do is I would tailor whatever it is about saying, okay, I'll give you an extra day off for your family, or I would do this or that, or talk to you about your family. As a good leader, I know family is important to you, so I would sit and I would talk about your family and ask about your family to help motivate and to make you understand that I would like to motivate you by, making sure that, you let's say get a hotel room for your family, or whatever motivates you. And just doing whatever I can, because when you're managing or when you're leading and when you're trying to motivate, you can't just it's hard to motivate a group of people. You have to motivate individuals, and you've got to break it down and try to figure out what motivates them. And family, if family motivates you, money motivates you, time off, whatever it is, I have to tailor my however I'm trying to motivate my employees to each and every employee, because there is not one specific thing that's going to work for everybody. Does that make sense? I can't, one style of motivating or trying to motivate someone is not the end all be all. There's so many other ways of trying to motivate individuals. All right. So tell me, someone read this one. Tell me about motivation.
Motivation.
Sorry, go ahead, whoever.
Leads to achievement of organizational goals. The goals of an enterprise can be achieved only when the 4 factors take place.
Go ahead, read those.
The best possible utilization of resources. There is a cooperative work environment. The employees are goal-directed and they act in a purposive manner. Goals can be achieved if co-orientated and cooperative takes place simultaneously, which can be effectively done through motivation.
Okay, so thank you. Work in a group, you want to, in realistically, this is all like just repeating in just different words, basically, but you're trying to build a relationship in a way. You're trying to build a what I call a family unit. In the industry, in the restaurant industry, we talk about or we feed you family meal. Everything is kind of family oriented, or some of this stuff in the restaurant industry, and just trying to find a relationship with your employees and trying to figure out what kind of motivates them, for sure. But this is just kind of repeating over and over again about motivation, and that motivation is, I would say, something that it's doing one way, trying to motivate one way is never the right option. There's always multiple options, and together we achieve more. Okay, so as a team, we can achieve more, and to work together and to motivate as a team is important. And so motivation, someone read this one for me.
Motivation leads to stability of work. Stability of workforce is very important from the point of view of reputation and goodwill of a concern. The employees can remain loyal to the enterprise only when they have a feeling of participation in the management. The skills and efficiency of employees will always be an advantage to the employees as well as employees.
Thank you. The employee can remain loyal to the facility, and only feeling basically they're going to be loyal. So if I'm motivating you and if I am a good leader, honestly, okay, so just look at all the stepping stones we've done, right? Very beginning, we've talked about hiring, right? And resumes and all of that, and we're adding all of these up, and to make a good environment and to feel like you and the manager and you and your employees, that are to make them loyal, you know, and to hire loyal people, it starts off at the very beginning, and it starts off at the very, to have a good motivated person, it starts off at the very, very beginning of the hiring stage, to look at and see if they are motivated people. And that's why I think staging and working interviews are very important, because of you can try to see if that individual is motivated, right? If they're motivated, you know, that they will work harder to do that, and you can see when people are more motivated. But it really starts off in that hiring process, the application, and seeing where they are, and you know, in just trying to motivate them in multiple ways. Employee motivation versus growth. Let's see. Okay, motivation can help achieve personal goals. What else? Someone finish reading the rest of this, or someone read the whole this whole slide for me.
Motivation is important to an individual, as motivation will help him achieve his personal goals. If an individual is motivated, he will have job satisfaction. Motivation will help in self-development of individual. An individual will always gain by working with a dynamic team.
Thank you. Now, has anybody ever worked with a really like motivated team? I mean, a good motivated team is just
I work with one right now.
Really? Where at?
With Chico.
Chico? Okay.
I worked with one in sales when I did sales for a company.
Yeah, and tell me, both of y'all, tell me what you know, what about a highly motivated team? I mean, what does that do for you if you're not as motivated, but you know, you're working for a highly motivated team? I mean, it motivates you, right?
Yeah.
You know, it makes you.
It wears off on you.
Yeah. And go ahead.
It inspires you to, especially the way their energy level is. Like if they're like, come on, y'all, we have to get these numbers and blah, 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 blah. Forget it. You get a bonus of this, that, and the third. You get really excited. And so you're like, okay, every call or everything that you're doing going forward is like, let's get this done so I can get my bonus, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. And when you work with a good motivated team, I mean, it's amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to stand up for a second. I'm trying to make this stand up. Okay. Yeah, totally. I think when you are working for a team that is motivated, guys, it is amazing. It really is. I mean, it's like, you know, it's electric. It's exciting. It makes you want to even do more and stay at work longer, and you know, really get a lot of stuff done. I mean, a good motivation. I mean, just having a good work environment is very important and very motivating as well. Effective motivation, you know, link a reward. You know, basically you've got a reward system, right? You can do a reward system. You know, you said someone was saying about bonuses, you know, trying to get your sales right? So you can get the bonuses. Yeah, anything that can make you want to make your employees want to work harder and to put out their 110% every single day. And if it's if it's recognizing like I don't know, in that one, I think there was a TED talk that we were watching last week that was talking about how one of the chefs would give them put their special, make your employees put their name on the menu, or put the name on the of the special drink that they made, that employee made, on their menu or whatever else, but some sort of award, something that will a performance award, something that will help encourage your employees to really work and work their hardest. Let's see, who wants to read? Oh, go ahead.
I
Someone's
was
going to
gonna
say
say
something.
on the motivation thing, like incentives, whenever the end goal to me is like, if you are giving incentives, if you have that energy and you're making your employees feel as though this is like the best place on earth, because I used to always say, coming to work was like my vacation and being at home
Yeah.
was my actual job. So,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, that whenever I worked in mortgage, I've worked in the restaurant industries, all sorts of different things. And anytime that they would give those type of incentives and then recognize you for it, it gives you that boost of confidence, which entails you put it back into the company, and then the company gets, more recognition too, because now that person was, helping enhance it and enhance
Exactly. No, exactly. And that right there is a good working environment, right? Because it's feeding itself, right? You're feeding itself, and you're making everybody better. You're bettering your employees, you're bettering your job, you're bettering everything. So it's a huge, amazing cycle, right? And that right there is a great way of doing it. But it's just trying to keep that motivation going, right? Because trying to keep people motivated, especially right now. I mean, just think about trying to motivate employees right now. I mean, granted, money and having a job, because right now, having a job is pretty a motivation, because there's a lot of people out there right now that don't have jobs, that can't get a job because of COVID or whatever else. So, but what kind of motivation, other than just having a job, you need to figure out what motivates your employees, what you could do to make your facility or your business as successful. And to make your business successful, you need to have highly motivated, highly skilled employees to do their job, and to further your business. And
But
if you don't, go ahead.
in the same too, you also want to hire people that are self-motivated, because in this business, you don't want to have to hold anybody's hand. We don't have time for that. So like, if you're not going, if I'm motivating and I'm, giving you that extra, like, yay, let's do it, and you're still not doing it, then, sometimes it's like, there's the boot.
No, totally. And I'm not saying that if you have a employee that is just not motivated, or that you can't motivate them whatsoever, you have to, there's a bottom line, right? And if that person is not doing what they need to be doing, for sure, you need to think about, first of all, what we're gonna, yes, boot them, fire them, whatever else, or discipline them in certain ways, until they either I motivate them to quit, or they motivate themselves to, moving and doing what they should be doing. So for sure. Let's see. Compliment employees. You want to guys, honestly, you want to treat them with respect. You want to treat them with respect. You want to treat them the way you want to be treated. You want to compliment them. You want to make sure they understand that you appreciate what they do for the company. And being our recognition of, hey, employee recognition, this person, employee of the week or employee of the month. I'll give them a parking spot. I'll give them, gift cards, or you do something. But anything helps motivate, especially recognition. People like to be recognized in front of their peers. So, any sort of recognition is always a good thing. When you're trying to help motivate people. You need to be transparent. You can't just, you've got to, I'm not going to try to trick you. I'm not going to try to trip you up or anything like that, but you need to be very transparent now, because there are some individuals out there that have ulterior motives, right? And you've got to be very transparent, because honestly, employees, and that's you and me and everybody else, we've got that BS detector. We got that. We can sniff out, if someone's really being, really being fair, or really being honest, or whatever else. We can sniff out the bullshit, right? We can sniff out, what the stuff that, if someone's trying not to be, or trying to not be as transparent, if they're trying to hide things, or if they're trying to, not tell you all the things. But you need to be very, very transparent. You need to stay in touch with your employees while they're, you need to communicate, guys. I cannot tell you how, you need, as a boss, you need to go and have FaceTime with all your employees. You need to say hi to them. You need to talk to them. You need to, share stories with them. You need to kind of have a little bit of a communication, because people like to be able to relate to you, want to relate to you. And you need to be, when you're dealing with just being motivated, but you need to be just transparent with your goals, with all your strategies that you're doing, because people don't like to hear, rumors, or hear, from the water cooler, people talking about this or that. But you really need to just, get to know your employees, or, stay in touch with them, and know that maybe they're having a hard time right now at home, and they, somebody in their family has COVID or whatever else, and they're having a hard time staying motivated at work, or staying motivated in general. So, you need to kind of stay in touch with them, so you can kind of understand what's going to be, what needs to happen. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's always beneficial for you to be like that with your employees, because at the end of the day, you're asking someone else to help you grow your dream. So if they don't feel an incentive as to why I should help you get paid and stuff, they're not going to feel like that. That's why I was telling my cousin, she works for a restaurant business, and she's like an hourly person, but she's also a manager. And so, she's supposed to get salary pay, but they only pay her hourly, and then they don't give her the incentives as what the hourly people get. So feeling really unappreciated right now. And
Yeah, totally.
yeah, I was like, she wants to move to a different job. And I was like, well, consistency is key too, because she's been there for years. But I was like, that's not right, because at the end of the day, people are going to quit on that job or that company because of the fact they don't appreciate their employees. And
I completely agree.
yeah, that's what makes it go around. If you don't have employees that, because we, at the end of the day, we all put our pants on the same way. And
Exactly.
you help, you have to show that interest and that investment in that person.
No, exactly. In this is who is this? Your sister?
Oh, my cousin.
Or your cousin? I honestly, I would tell her maybe to think about going somewhere else, because they don't value her.
Exactly.
And they don't value what she brings to the table, especially if they're doing that. I mean, that's kind of and I'm not trying to be rude, but that's kind of a slap in her face, because what she is doing and what they have done, and they're treating her like a second-class citizen, if you will, type of deal, and that right there will motivate them to be in a negative kind of a attitude and all of that sort of stuff, right? So I mean, that's a shame, because they have such a dedicated worker, right? Someone that's been there forever, and they're not fostering that good worker. They're not fostering a good work environment for her, and so she's feeling taken advantage of, used, abused, type of deal. And that right there negatively motivates someone, right? And when we talk about motivation, there is a negative motivation and there's a positive motivation. And sometimes if I'm me being, if I'm not doing the right thing, I could motivate them in a negative aspect. And that could be very detrimental to my business, right? Because I could, as an employee, I could sabotage so many things, right? So and that's something you don't want. You don't want someone like that. And I'm not saying she is. I'm just saying that they are fostering a bad work environment for her, and they could easily turn it around and make an amazing manager, or make an amazing person, and have a better facility if they just understood how to what motivates and how to deal with employees. And that's a great example. And it's sad to say that, that sucks, right? That she has to.
She went from working like 60 hours a week to now, and that was by herself. Like, she wanted to do that. She would stay after help and do that. And she's like, well, Cass, now I don't stay at all. Once they tell me time is up, I'm out of there. And they're looking like, why are you leaving? Because she doesn't get paid, compensated for it or recognized for it anymore.
There you go. That right there, that speaks thousands. And I want everybody in this class to remember what she just said. She used to stay and on her own time and bust her own butt for the better of that restaurant or better of that business. And now she has decided, well, if they're not going to take care of me, if they're not going to recognize me, well, hell, I'm not going to make them any extra money. I'm not going to do anything extra for them. So that right there is, you have just totally screwed up your business by doing that to your employee, because then now the employee is not empowered to help out, to maybe help out a customer, or will just you know, instead of going that extra mile for a customer, they're going to just say, oh, forget it. My company doesn't go out for me. Why the hell am I going to do anything for this customer type of deal? So it can help, motivation can help you negatively and positively. So I want you to, and thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh yeah, no worries.
When you are motivating people, you know, sometimes you need sometimes this development plan can be considered a negative as well, but the negative side of the development plan is called a growth plan. And that's kind of, people can name it in different ways, but a development plan or a growth plan, it's something that helps you grow and to move on. Well, for example, let's say you're not doing certain, let's say at public schools. I was a public school teacher for 3.5 years. I put in a full running restaurant in a high school and all of that. And I know, like some public schools, like if you are not doing correctly, if the school district will put you, it's called a growth plan or something like that. And they will put you on this plan, and it will help you kind of get better at whatever job, whatever thing you were doing wrong or whatever else. But a development plan, same kind of deal, but it helps you grow and develop as an employee or as an individual, and it helps you kind of determine all the things that you need to do to grow, to learn, all of that. But personal development plan, like so I want, if I had, then maybe they say, well, Cliff, you need to get your SurfSafe certification. You need to get this, and this. And, and that's kind of my growth plan. And I've got to kind of do these certain things to stay employed or whatever else. So, but as a good manager, I want to challenge my employees, right? I want to challenge them and make sure that they are growing and moving along in the process. And there's a good quote from Richard Branson somewhere. I'll have to find it, but about employees that I want y'all to hear. I'll find it before the end of class. But all right, do y'all need a break? Y'all good, or do we need a break? We good? Thumbs up if you need a break.
I'm good.
All right, good. All right, I just see it's 8 o'clock, so I try to every hour at least give you a break. All right, so effective motivation. So someone read this slide for me, if you don't mind.
Participate and know. Remember, you work for a company where a one-on-one attention might not be possible. Do not wait for an invitation to participate in a discussion. If you are part of a forum, then you have a full right to express your opinion and be a part of the process. Expressing yourself is a good way of motivating yourself.
Thank you. The one thing I want you to know is, if you don't speak up, you're never going to get heard. Plain and simple. If you don't speak, you're never going to get heard. So sometimes, you need to speak up, and sometimes it's not a one-on-one kind of a situation. It's in groups or whatever else. But make sure, especially when you are, trying to motivate employees and motivate people, you need to let them talk. You need to let them speak, because, you can sit and talk, but they need to get their information out as well. So you always want to make sure that there's a give and take. There is a good communication. And that communication is the most important thing that as a manager or as a boss or as a leader, communication is so important. If you cannot communicate correctly, none of this will work and will help. Let's see. Motivation is a state of mind. High motivation leads to high moral or greater production. A highly motivated person can get a lot of stuff done, a lot of things done. Very productive. A motivated employee gives his or her best to the organization, for sure, right? Anybody motivated that's for this, they're going to give it their all, right? They're going to do everything in their power to make it very successful. They stay loyal. He or she stays loyal with the company, guys, and that is something that I think is very important. Loyalty, and you very rarely see that because there is no loyalty from the company to the employee anymore, right? There is no loyalty to the company to the employee as much anymore because everybody, it's a bottom line, right? It's all about the bottom line. So I talk about my father. He started his job at one job right when he got out of college, and he stayed at that same company for his whole time of his career. So he started a job right after he got out of college, and he retired at that same not job, but same company. So what I'm trying to say is there's no, and you don't see that much anymore, right? You don't see that kind of a loyalty when it comes to employees and employers. But if you foster a good work environment, if you foster a good motivation, if you have good leadership, if you have all of those things, guys, I would stay at a job if I had all of those things, right? If we had all of that and they treat you good, they take care of you, they listen to you. Go ahead.
That's kind of like what my classmates said about her cousin. Since they lost that connection with her, she lost her motivation, and therefore she just doesn't feel like she needs to be there anymore, so she's not putting her all into it.
Exactly.
So it's like more so like a domino effect when the work environment is not productive or negative,
Exactly. And that's why I'm trying to go back on, talking about day one, because day one, it starts off with day one, and it starts off with the hiring process and in fostering all of that. And I think it's and it also is important that the management understands that and sees that decline, and their eyes are not open. They're not managing the proper way.
Wow, it's crazy when you say that, because it all ties into each other in a sense. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to say is it's all one. It all kind of ties in together. Everything.
Like
so
a link.
Yes.
Chain link.
Yep.
It basically is. That's crazy.
Yeah, totally. All right, we're gonna watch this video and.
Dove Advanced Care's new formula, enriched with
ad
1/4 moisturizers with
blocker.
natural oil, leaves underarms feeling healthy and protected, and you more confident and carefree. Effective protection coming to skin.
When I first heard I was going to be speaking at TED, it was about 6 weeks ago, I immediately started typing my script. And it's been an obsession ever since. I don't know about the other speakers, but... And I was saying to my wife yesterday that it's not ready. It just doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. She said, oh, don't worry, it'll be fine. This was yesterday, right? There's people in this room thinking, that's not what we rehearsed on Wednesday. And I said, you don't get it. This is TED. If this goes viral, it's career defining. I'll be the next Simon Sinek, And then I realized that I completely missed the point. That I'd forgotten my purpose in this. And so I'm going to flip the script. I woke up, I was on my bike this morning, I'm going to talk about something different. And I think we are losing our purpose in society. Purpose is about meaning in our life. It's about staying engaged and, when things are tough. And it's about connection. And I'd lost that connection with you. It had become about me and not you. Yeah? So I'm going to talk about that for a bit. I think whether you are an athlete or a teacher or a parent or running a business, we cannot operate at our full potential without purpose. Now, I was sharing this about 6 years ago in Canary Wharf with a group of traders. Now, I just want you to picture the room. It's 2009, and they're just starting their career in trading in the city. Okay, so the crisis just hit, and I'm in there and I'm talking about purpose, right? And to be fair to them, they were getting into it, they started to get the idea, but there was this chap in the corner of my eye throughout the whole session, and he was just heckling me throughout the day. Just wasn't getting it. In his words, this is fluffy bollocks. And this continued. Anyway, in the afternoon, he said to me, he said, Andrew, you've been talking about purpose all day. You've been talking about asking us why we do, what gets us out of bed every day. He said, what do you do? What gets you out of bed? Why do you do what you do? What's your purpose? Which is a fair question to ask the person who's talking about purpose, right? And I knew the answer because I'd reflected on it in the past. And I said to him, do you remember the Rocky films? Do you remember the Rocky films? Yeah. Rocky 5, Tommy Gunn. I said, that's the worst. I said, I remember that film. I remember watching it. It was a Sunday night. It was 1993, March 21st. I remember watching that film. And Sundays in my house are pretty standard. I would have been out all day playing street hockey. I'd have been at Safeway's car park in Tunbridge Wells. I still call it Safeways. I'd been playing all day. I'd come home, had a roast dinner with my family, and we'd watch sport. It'd have been cricket, football, golf, or snooker. One of those four, depending on the time of year. And this night I was watching. My dad loved sport. He was a baker. My granddad was a baker. And I always expected the business to be mine. But when I was 11, my dad sold the business. He sold it. So that was kind of the end of that. I still feel like a baker. But he started, to be fair to him, he made a lot of money. He moved into construction. And we had this wonderful, he made big houses in Tunbridge Wells. We had this wonderful big house. And we had the fancy holidays to Portobello, all that kind of Marbella, all that nice stuff. We had this wonderful E-Type Jag, blue E-Type Jag that used to sit on the drive. But as quickly as he made all his money, he lost a lot. It was the mid-'80s, and that's what happened in construction. Lost it, and our lives changed like that. And on this Sunday night, he came to the door, and I was watching this film, and he said to me, I'm going to bed. Come and give your dad a hug. And I said, no, you've had a drink. He said, come and give me a hug. I said, no. And he went to bed. I didn't. And he went to bed. That was the last time I saw him. He died of a heart attack, age 48. And I looked at this guy, and I said, do you know that 20% of people die in the early hours of a Monday morning, brought on by the stress and anxiety and fear of facing work the next day? I said, I don't want that to happen to you or anybody. That's why I do what I do. That shut him up. I feel blessed to live in Tunbridge Wells, actually, because I grew up playing street hockey in Tunbridge Wells, and I got my first stick when I was 9, and it changed my life forever. I was 9 years old. I played other sports, but I think, Paul was talking about giving children opportunity. 80% of young people, young 14-year-olds, will become disengaged with sport, 80%, because they're looking for alternatives, and we're not offering it. But I was lucky, because I found street hockey. And I went on this extraordinary journey with the Tunbridge Wells Street Cruisers, and we would play all over Europe. We would drive out to Amsterdam, Rotterdam, we'd go out to Dusseldorf and play in these roller hockey tournaments out there, out into the mountains of Switzerland. We even went off to Chicago to play in Chicago. We had we didn't have very much money. We had to save our pennies. In fact, when we used to go to Europe, we used to rent a transit van. We used to put our hockey bags in the back and put mattresses on top. So we'd go out, and that would be our accommodation for the weekend. We were the first team, believe it or not. The first Tunbridge Wells Street Cruisers was the first team in '95 to switch from traditional roller skates, quads, to rollerblades, because we thought it would give us a competitive advantage. It was a disaster. But what happened is that people thought it was hilarious because the first tournament we played in, we came last, and this was in Switzerland. And everyone thought we were crazy for doing it. They couldn't understand why we'd made this transition until, of course, we started winning. And in '98, the Tunbridge Wells Street Cruisers beat the Dusseldorf Rams in the final of the championship. Now, if you speak to the team and say, tell me about your experience, it's very rare that they'll talk about the winning. Winning's great. It's a wonderful feeling, winning. But if you ask them, they'll talk about the sacrifice, they'll talk about the road trips. Obviously, I can't tell you the stories because you know the rules. They'll talk about the fact that we owned it, that we shaped it. It was ours. We didn't have a coach or a manager telling us where to be, what to do. It was all self-directed by us. And the following 10, 15 years, I played in 12 World Championships for Team Great Britain at inline hockey. I was to and from America playing, and in 2010, I took on the head coaching job for Team Great Britain. And I'd acquired a team that had lost in the quarterfinals of Pool B in the World Championships. Pool B is essentially like Division 2, and Pool A is the top 8 countries in the world. So Sweden, Czech Republic, Canada, USA, etc. The top ice hockey countries that come across. And so I'd noticed that they'd become a bit disengaged with playing for their country, having lost to Australia in the quarterfinals the year before in Pool B. So I was going to go in there, all guns blazing as head coach, and I was going to create the exact same culture as I'd experienced with the Tunbridge Wells Street Cruisers. The problem is you cannot take one culture and put it on another. It just doesn't work, right? And that was my experience. So I had to rethink what I was doing with the team and think about putting a different set of rules in. And these are the 5 rules I'm going to share with you that I put in place that for me have helped create an environment where everybody can absolutely thrive. And I think we all have a responsibility to create that type of environment. So the first thing we did with the Team GB is that they needed their own story. They needed their own story, not one that I was trying to force on. Our story happened over 10 years. It was organic. You can't just recreate that. But I had 9 months before the World Championships. And their story, what they came up with, was that they wanted to look, act and feel like a Pool A team. To look, act and feel, not to win the gold medal in Pool B, but to look, act and feel. That was their vision for the team. Now, I couldn't go in and say, well, if you want that, you need to eat better, you need to train harder, because you still get resistance. So I promised myself that I would not tell them to do anything. And I would just ask them. If that's what you want to achieve, I would just ask them the questions. There were some things I had to put in place around strategy and how we would play the game, but I wanted them to come forward with everything, for them to thrive and really own it, like we had. The other thing is I wanted to create leaders in the team, in Team Great Britain. I didn't want followers are good for the ego. They're not good for business, right? They're not good for sustaining change. They're not good for creating a high performance culture. So I wanted to create leaders, and that's my captains. I always say to you, you need your captains, you need your assistant captains out there. You need people who can influence change. And we needed change. The other thing is, I promised that we would embrace failure. Absolutely embrace it, because what I could see was a group of players who were paralyzed by the fear of failure, and it was preventing them from playing at their full potential. So we said we'll embrace it. Embrace the unknown. When the Street Cruiser switched to rollerblades, it was a failure. But we came back stronger and we ended up winning. And you know, when you take a risk, it's going to go one of two ways, isn't it? You can have, it's going to be a really good experience and you learn from it, or it might be a not so great experience and you learn from it, right? So either way, it's a bonus. The other thing is, if you can do all of that, then we could hold each other accountable. We could look each other in the eye and feel absolutely trusted that we would do what we said we would do. Now, the problems that I'm seeing, which is driving disengagement, is that I see it in education, I see it in businesses, is that we are focused on that, holding people accountable. Businesses are getting better, and the reason why they're getting better is because they realize that if you engage people, if you help them find their purpose, it means they're more productive, they will be more engaged, and that means more profit. Organizations like that. In sports, we're seeing athletes as a commodity, which is driving personal greed and corporate greed and corruption, as we've seen recently with FIFA, because we're just focused on performance. In schools, we're seeing academic robots on a conveyor belt to something they don't know where they're going, because that's what they're being told what to do, because they're being held accountable. What's this one? That's a D grade. Send it back. Yeah, it's not, the system is not working. We need to rethink how we can create an environment where everybody can thrive, feel inspired, and operate at their full potential. So I've shared my story with you. I'd like you to think about what your story is and what you can do.
All right, and this is the very last video we're going to watch, and it's the very last thing that we're going to be doing for today. So I'm going to show this last video, and then we'll close it down for the day.
If you work in a team, you've got to try Monday.com. Go to Monday.com and manage all your team's work on a powerful platform.
Have you ever wondered why it is that certain things are very important to us and we have become passionate about them? For me, it's all about values. And I know that we have individual values, we have family values, but for me, it's about organizational values. And it probably started when I was very young and had my first job. And actually, the job was in banking, and my first responsibility was to hire a very experienced teller, which I did. It didn't take that long. In fact, within a couple weeks, she was in the organization. And we noticed within a few weeks that she wasn't just good at being a teller, she was obviously also a great shopper, because she constantly was going out of the bank with these beautifully wrapped packages. We also noticed we were missing some money from one of our vaults. And all of a sudden it struck me that maybe I should be looking for something other than just someone with experience. Many years later now, after having worked for some very high-profile, values-based, strong organizations, I have discovered that there are some certain traits that high-performance models that are values-based have. Consistently, there are 5 things that they do very well. First of all, They define who they want to be around a values model and reciprocal behaviors. They also spend the time and effort it takes to hire A players who have the competencies like my teller, but unlike my teller, they also have the values. The third thing they do is they have a very strong model for accountability. And they reward people in the organization for doing a good job in a way that's meaningful to them. The fourth thing they do is they understand your people are your brand. And last but not least, they have a very strong continuous improvement.
Guys, did you hear that? Your people are your brand. Your people are is your company. Whatever it is, it's your people, and you and your people are going to make you or break you.
Improvement model. About 17 years ago, a group of 9 people who would be the leaders for a new organization sat in a room at DoubleTree Hotels in New York City. And they defined the values and the behaviors that would be part of this brand new company that they were creating. Today, those values and behaviors are part of the DNA of that organization. They also described and wrote a paragraph that they hoped would be written about them in years to come, and that has also happened. That company is called JetBlue Airways. You see, the leaders in that room understood that leaders drive the values of an organization, and those values drive the behaviors. The behaviors collectively become the culture of the organization. And I contend that culture drives performance. You see, culture is really what people do when no one is looking. One of my favorite stories is a story that I found on the internet about an individual who lived in Phoenix, Arizona. And he got a call one morning from his daughter who told him that his grandson had been in an horrific accident. And she wanted him to come say goodbye to the grandson, who they felt would have to be taken off life support that day. He called the airport and found there was one flight that would get him there. It was a Southwest flight. And he ran to the airport, but if you've ever been in Phoenix, you know that sometimes it's difficult to get through. And while he was in line, he discovered that he might miss his flight. He called his wife and told her. He got to the gate a little late, and when he got there, he saw that there were no passengers in the waiting area. And he ran up to the woman who was behind the podium, who was obviously a customer service agent. And he said to her, "Oh my gosh, I've missed my flight." And she said, "Are you Mr. Smith?" And he said, "Yes." And she said, "I want to make a call for you." And she made a call that he thought was probably to schedule him for another flight, which would be irrelevant because he wouldn't get there in time. As she completed the call, a door opened up behind her, and a captain walked out. And he said, "Mr. Smith, we've loaded the plane, and we're taking you to say goodbye to your grandson." You see, at Southwest, there are 40-some thousand people who live the value of the golden rule every day. And that's what that captain was doing. When you want to hire people that actually have the competencies and the values, a lot of organizations have started using a methodology that actually was perfected during World War II. The military started looking at who are the pilots that are hitting their targets consistently and who are not. And they found out that there were behaviors that were significantly different between those that consistently hit their target. And they started hiring people with those behaviors because past behavior is predictive of future behavior about 90% of the time. And what they found out is they changed the outcomes. Today, that methodology called behavioral hiring is being used by a number of high performance organizations. In fact, they use it a lot in healthcare. And in California, one of the healthcare systems there uses it to hire new nurses. And they were interviewing these nurses and they were asking the question, can you give me an example of a time when you had a very difficult patient? And this young nurse who was interviewing told the story about her having worked as a pediatric nurse in another environment. And she told the story about a baby being born with a portion of its brain missing. And the young mother, knowing she couldn't take care of this child who was not destined to live very long, gave the child up for foster care. This young nurse took a leave and took care of that baby until he passed away. And today, she is a member of that company, of that organization, because she has the value of caring, which is one of their strong values. One of the things that's really important is, as organizations look at how do we reward people, the great organizations look at rewarding people so that it's meaningful to them. One of my favorites is Google. And what Google does is they looked at, you know, every company has this bring your child to work day. But Google looked at it and they realized that they have such a young group of new engineers that many have not started their families yet. So they did something different. They do bring your parents to work day. And they had 4,900 parents who came this year. And they came from all over the world, because that was important to the people that work there. One of my favorite things is to look at why are we loyal to a certain brand. And when Bain & Company looked at it last year for a very large company, they found out that the biggest part of our decision to use a brand and frequent a brand is because of the people that serve us in that brand. 38% of the decision of loyal customers are all about who serves them. You know, if you don't have a continuous improvement model, if you really are a good organization but you want to stay great, you need to have a continuous improvement model. And the great organizations do that. In fact, at DoubleTree Hotels, when they found out that they were not not saving enough money. In fact, what they were trying to do is they found out, they were analyzing why is it we're spending so much money on silverware. And they found out in their large corporate environments and these big hotels, that people were trying to do such a good job they were clearing the tables too quickly. And so the CEO walked in to visit a hotel at Reagan Airport, and he saw that there was a table set with all the silverware. And it said, there was a sign on it that said, we saved the company $1,200 last night by going through the trash, because they had gone through to find the silverware that had been mistakenly thrown away. Tony Hsieh is one of my favorite people. Tony Hsieh is the CEO of Zappos, which is a great company. And Tony Hsieh has always said, because he used the model that I described to you today, he's always said, if you get the values and the culture right, success will happen. I'd like to leave you with one thought today, and that is, what are the values, the real values of your organization?
Sorry. All right. So I think that's very important because of what the values of when you're hiring people, you need to be aware of what your employees value, right? And I want my employees to value or value me or value my company as something that they will work hard for. And it's that being motivated. It's giving my employees the skill to, the knowledge to be successful. And as a leader, trying to be a good leader and a good motivator, I will hopefully in turn make my business a very good success, or very successful, because I have people that want my business to be successful, because they will better themselves if the business is successful. So it's a cycle. It's hiring the good people, motivating the people, leading the people, leading in letting your employees lead your other employees, and it's just one of those things where it will all work out in a good environment if everybody is working or doing the right thing. But the issue is no one does the right thing all the time, right? So you have to be vigilant. You have to be vigilant every single day. Motivate people, talk to people, make sure your employees feel that they are valued in that job. Because if they don't feel valued, they're going to be detractors, or people that are going to try to, eventually, if they don't feel valued, they're gonna, could sabotage you in some way. So please be aware of that. And that's what, yeah, go ahead.
I had a question. So when you say hire good people, should their values be similar to yours?
No, and I'm using the word good, and good is kind of generic, but hiring people that have the same motivation as you are, and that's why interviewing is so important, right? Trying to weed through all the BS of everybody and try to figure out what they value. And that's why when I ask, questions of, what do you like to do for fun? What is, in the interview process, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what are your values? What do you value in all of that? So just trying to pick out certain traits when you are hiring, and that's just something that until you start hiring people, until you start managing people, you don't really know the traits that you're looking for, or the way, what you're looking for. But once you find it, then you're going to be going, oh yeah, this is what a good employee, usually says, or whatever else. So you can kind of tailor your hiring around what your motivation and what your business wants. And that's why, like, having a what do you call it, a mission statement for your business is sometimes important, because that tells everybody what you value, what your businesses value. If it's customer service, or making sure your employees provide ultimate customer service, whatever it is, and then live that mantra, or live that way that your values are. So anyway, so you can hire some people, but sometimes, again, it's like marriage. Sometimes, there's not a good fit, and sometimes you have to separate. So, and that's with the employees itself. Sometimes you might need to separate. Sometimes you need to get rid of somebody or fire somebody because they don't fit the company's values or your values when it comes to not personal values. And I need you to understand that personal values are different. Values of the company. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I've worked around people that I have, total opposite values, right? Personal values, right? But when I'm talking about values, I'm talking about just the business values, making sure the customers get the service that they need, whatever else. So those are the things that, and I'm going to kind of leave it with you on this of you're going to notice that on day 1 and to day 29, when we get to day 29 or day, actually like in the 25 range, day 25, all of everything that we are going to be talking about, because we're talking about segments, right? Little small things like motivation. We're going to talk about, discipline. We're going to be talking about all sorts of little segments or little sections. And then you're going to see that all of these sections are going to commingle into one homogeneous kind of a mass. And it's going to, and then you're going to go, oh, okay, this is what it makes. It makes all sense. But we're just hitting little sections. And once we put it all together, then that is kind of what this whole course is all about. And this course is all about you as a manager making the right decisions, making the right, or what I consider the right decisions. And that depends on what the restaurant values, right? What they want, what their restaurant or their business wants to get out of it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it today. Tomorrow, remember, I'm going to be doing some medication that might make me need to run to use the restroom every once in a while. So don't be afraid if I bolt real quick to use the restroom. I'll come back. But anyway, I'll do whatever. I'll try my best to not let it affect y'all tomorrow. And then Wednesday, or that's Wednesday morning. So what I'm going to be, or I might let y'all out a little bit early because my check-in to the hospital is like around, I think, 10 o'clock or so. So I might let y'all out a little early so I can kind of get ready to go to the hospital to get that procedure done. But other than that, peace out. Y'all have a great day. I'll sit here if y'all have any questions. Other than that, if you have not, again, work on all the, what do you call it?
Knowledge check.
No, thank you. Knowledge checks, all of that. I think I've opened them all up. If they are not open, please let me know. Yes.
They aren't open.
They're
Not
not?
for week 3 and 4. No, sir.
Oh. Maybe I, okay. I will sit here.
I've done week 3 and 4 already, so they were open for me.
Okay, maybe that closed. I'll look and make sure, and I will do that before I log off. So, cool.
Okay. Thank you, Chef.
All right, and who was that? Austin?
Austin. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. I'll make sure that I'll look and make sure just for you as well too. All right. Y'all have a great day. Be safe, guys.
All right. Thank you, Chef.
Peace out.
All right. Bye, Chef.
Bye, Chef.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Chef.
Bye.
Hey, Chef.
Yes, yes.
Did you see my job aid? Was that what you wanted?
Yeah. I thought I responded to you. Hold on. I thought I responded thank you or
I think I did say thank you. Yes, sir.
okay.
Yes,
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it's all I wanted. You did a great job. Thank you.
and then I sent you the actual thing of me doing it because I just used the picture.
Yeah, no, that was cool. I liked it. Thank you. I actually saved that because I was going to use that for my next class that I teach. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Well, you have a good day, Chef.
Hey, you too. Bye-bye.
Hey.
All right. Bye, Chef.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys. I'm gonna.
Chef,
Oh, yes.
I was actually waiting for the same thing to see if you got mine. I wasn't able to send it until later yesterday evening
Hold
after
on
I
one
got off
second.
work.
Let me look. Yes, but you know what? I didn't respond. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's
I'll
fine. I
respond
sent it
right
late,
now.
and there was a long email with it, so I didn't.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay.
I saw that. I read, and that's probably why I didn't respond, because I was reading the email and I just didn't respond right after that. So sorry. Yes, I did. And I'm going to respond now, just saying thank you, so where you know that I got it.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
no, thank you. It was great. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, guys, I'm going to hang up now unless y'all need me. Bye, guys. Y'all have a great day.